Every day, thousands of rail cars carrying tanker after tanker of volatile Bakken crude oil roll through America's cities and towns. And when accidents happen, they can be devastating. In February, near Mount Vernon, West Virginia, a train carrying 107 tanker cars filled with crude oil from North Dakota derails. The oil cars split open and a fireball erupts. Miraculously, there was only one injury.
The best thing right now is to let the fires burn out for safety reasons.
In 2013, a small community in Quebec was not so lucky. An oil train broke free, rolled into town, derailed, and exploded. 47 dead.
I had the chance to visit Lac-Mégantic and notice how similar the town was in many respects to my own village.
Karen Darch is village president of Barrington, Illinois. It's supposed to be one of those upscale suburban Chicago communities where the biggest headache is the commute downtown. But in the last few years, a much bigger headache has rolled into town. The boom in domestic production of oil has led to more trains, more oil, more potential danger rolling right through Barrington.
You don't know on any given day what could happen any given night. We have 10% of our homes within 300 feet of the tracks. We have a high school with 3,000 students a few blocks away from our freight track.
Darch lives right near the tracks, and what she and her town are preparing for is what has become commonly known as rolling bombs.
Yes, bomb trains.
It is an issue that has plagued small towns in increasing numbers. In the last 2 years, there have been 10 accidents with trains carrying oil in places like Aliceville, Alabama, Castleton, North Dakota, Lynchburg, Virginia. The problem magnified by the sheer volume of oil now rolling across the U.S. In 2008, less than 10,000 carloads of crude oil were carried on American railroads. That's all across the country. Last year, that number was close to 500,000. In Barrington, they don't need statistics to tell you that. A few years ago, this rail line barely saw 2 trains a day. In 2008, the domestic oil boom hit, the rail line was sold to Canadian National, and the trains began to roll.
It is a huge danger if they breach, if there's a derailment in the heart of my town and there's a breach of those tank cars, there can be a plume of flame, high into the sky, and rupture. If several cars rupture and oil burns, there'd be a lot of destruction in the center of town.
The response from the government so far demand better tank cars, sturdier, newer, supposedly less prone to explode. But the cars that exploded in West Virginia were new. They still split open and erupted in flames. Cause of that derailment is still under investigation. Brigham McGowan, who used to run the government's Pipeline and Hazardous Materials Safety Administration, says it's not the oil tanker that's the problem, it's the railroads that carry them.
The focus really needs to swing back around to the railroads and say, look, you guys have to keep these cars on the tracks. It's that simple.
Government statistics for the most recent year show that after human error, derailments are caused by one reason: bad railroad tracks, something the American Association of Railroads says they're determined to improve.
We have invested billions of dollars, and we're going to continue to invest billions of dollars for the necessary infrastructure to move this commodity safely.
But just like improving rail tanker cars, improving the tracks come with federal standards that are basically left up to the railroads to comply. No real government authority, says the former government administrator, and no real proof any of this is getting any better, which leaves towns like Barrington, Illinois at a dangerous crossroads.
And Drew joins us again from Philadelphia. Drew, if you look at the crash scene behind you, you can actually, I guess, see what appears to be these oil tankers on the track pretty close to the wreck. Aren't they at least rerouted around big cities or congested train zones?
They can try to do that, Anderson, but I want to show you some video that we took just about a half an hour ago right over my shoulder. These are these oil tank cars rolling right past this very crash scene. You cannot force these trains to go anywhere else. You can't reroute them around cities like Philadelphia. The only thing the Federal Railroad Administration is now requiring is at least notifying local safety officials when these trains are coming through, basically, Anderson, just giving them a heads up that they're there.
It's interesting because I think a lot of people didn't realize that that there's nothing much that the locals can do about it. What about forcing railroads or oil companies to make tracks safer, the tank cars less prone to explode?
You know, it's really, when you look through the legislations, it's difficult to force anything. Now, the FRA is going to require these newer tank cars, any car made from October on, to be these safer cars, and there's a schedule for retrofitting the old tank cars. As far as improving the rails, yes, they're trying to get the rails improved. They're pushing the railroads to do a better job on these rails, pushing them to put in this positive train control everywhere. But again, these are suggestions, strong suggestions. They're urging them to do it. But really, unless these governments come up with the cash themselves, it's up to the railroads to implement these changes as they get the money to do so. And that's basically where we are.
Yeah, and earlier in the program, you were talking about how the positive train control was on the other side of the tracks from where this latest crash occurred, and that's new information that we just learned tonight. I understand you have some information as to why it was one side and not the other.
Yeah, we were guessing earlier as why it was one side or the other. Amtrak officials are now confirming to us the reason that this automated train control, they're not calling it positive train control, it's an older system, automated train control was in place to automatically slow down southbound trains going from New York to Washington, D.C. past this Frankfurt junction, is because the trains traveling from New York down into this curve go much faster. And so the threat was there that they would enter this curve much faster, and Amtrak decided, or the railroads decided, that we need to slow these trains down. We need to have this kind of control system in place. So it was in place for the southbound, which did little help for this northbound train.
And you referenced this a little bit earlier, and we talked about it a little bit last night when I was down there with you in Philadelphia. But this this system was the safety system was supposed to be put in place by law by the end of this year. But there's a lot of pressure in Congress to actually now extend that several years.
Yeah, there's going to be there was pushback. They're trying to extend it out maybe another 10 years, but obviously money is a problem. Just doing the work is a problem. But I think after this accident, really they're going to push to get this deadline met, which is December 31st, 2015.
All right, well, we'll see. We'll keep on it. Drew, thank you very much.